there is an invisible glass ceiling for women. I mean, you have to break it. It is there. It's great to achieve, and it's great to be sort of appreciated by your bosses. But then, at some point in time, I think you need to say, okay, this much and no more.
Hello and welcome to Health Shots, She Slays Leadership Talk. I'm your host, Suchitra Rajendra. Today, we're delighted to have Anju Munjal, Senior Vice President at Usha International, as our esteemed guest. Hello Anju, welcome to the Health Shots, She Slays Leadership Talks. Very great to have you here. So tell us a little bit about your career journey.
First of all, Suchitra, thank you for having me over. I'm very happy to be here and to be talking to you. 36 years seems actually not that long ago. I started my career with the Shriram Group, quite by accident, to tell you honestly. My dad, of course, thought it was one of the best companies those days to be joining. So he saw this ad and he gave it to me. He said, you must apply for this job. So I came in and I got interviewed, and I think what really worked in my favor, it was difficult to get into the Shriram Group those days, and what really I think worked in my favor was the fact that they were working on this whole thing of gender diversity 37 years ago, and so they were keen to have me join the company. And the second thing was that I was from Lady Shriram, so the Shriram sort of connection got me some brownie points, some bonus points. So that's probably the reason why they hired me, because today I meet people who've tried for this that many years ago and who are doing so well in life, and they didn't really get in. So I wonder how I did. But anyhow, it was wonderful. And when I got in, and there was a gentleman called Preet Bedi who was leaving. I don't know if you've heard of him. He was my generation. He was an icon. He used to be a newsreader on television. He was a celebrity of sorts. And I had to fill his very big shoes. That's how things started to evolve. And then working for an iconic brand, 85 years old, you're trying to sort of, work against the onslaught of multinationals, companies coming in with big budgets. You've got to stay relevant. So that was a big challenge. And the fact that I was working for this old brand, I had to keep it alive. I had to do things in terms of products, in terms of communication. I think that's really what kept me going. So I was like involved in so many different things at Usha. It wasn't only the product portfolio that the company represents, but so much more. It was never really that I was continue to work in this one company for so long. There were so many different things to do, so many great bosses, such great training. And this company is really known for a lot of systems and processes which people talk about, when they leave the company. So that was really something that, kept me going. And the other thing was the great culture that the company had. They do a lot for corporate social responsibility, a lot for music and culture, and also it's really been a wonderful place to be and a great journey.
Yeah.
I've had my bumps, I've had my ups and downs, but I've sort of got up and I've kept moving. So that's how I'm here for that many years, and it really seems like yesterday, honestly.
Oh wow. Yeah. I mean, just imagine 37 years and you sound so motivated
even
now and passionate about it even now, with all the navigation, learning so much along the way.
To tell you honestly, it wasn't really ever working for the same company. I worked with 3 generations of the Shriram. The culture, the vision remained the same, but the style of working changed. So I never really thought that I was really in one company. And the other thing, I think I wasn't really quite ambitious for my own self. Not that I didn't get opportunities here, but I never really needed to look out.
So interesting, you said, your father showed you this ad and then you got to apply. But suppose that was not there, and so this hadn't happened. What was your alternate career path?
To be honestly, I was dying to become a fashion designer. I went, before I joined the Shriram Group, I went and I actually got myself a job. And this was at that time one of the best known fashion houses in India. And they were exporting all over the world, and they had launched this Indian label, and absolutely fabulous. So I walked in and I said, I have to work here. So they said, look, you're not a trained fashion designer. And they had fashion designers from all over the world. The likes of NIFT and all didn't exist those days. So I just had to do what I wanted to do. So after economics, I wanted to become a fashion designer. So my father, who was a senior bureaucrat, I kept saying, can't have my daughter who's a tailor. I said, no, it's not a tailor. It's a fashion designer. It's something else. But then the likes of Tarun Tahilanis and Sabyasachis didn't exist those days. So my dad quite didn't really know what the meaning of fashion design was. So I got myself a job and I was doing a whole lot of other stuff. But in between, I was trying to get myself trained. So when my dad saw this ad, he says, no, you have to go and apply for this. I can't have my daughter as a tailor. So please go there. So I went there and I won't believe it. I went into the office. I did my interview. I said, I will only work half day. Because half day I wanted to do that, but obviously life had other plans for me, and the Shriram Group at that point wouldn't hear of somebody who was working half day. So they said something really, so I was quite adamant. I went and met my final interview was with the chairman. So I said, something, I've told everyone down the line, but can you help me? I really want to work half day and the other half I want to be a fashion designer. He said, okay, just wait outside. So after 10 minutes, HR calls me and says that, we're making your appointment letter and we'll give you a car. I said, listen, hell with fashion design. I'm joining you tomorrow. At that age, to be given a car, I said, there goes my career. I don't want to look at fashion design. When can I join? So that's how I got into a full-time career, and I've loved every bit of it.
Never looked back.
Never looked back.
The world lost out on an Anju.
Anju Munjal, yeah. Who knows? I would have given Sabyasachi a run for his money.
Of course.
Yeah,
definitely.
So
tell me, in these 35 years that you were, what are things that you've seen now yourself evolve into? Into what kind of a leader have you evolved into?
I think I'm pretty collaborative in the way I work with people. I think I've learned to give people a chance to voice their opinions. I'm never really sort of forcing my opinion down. Okay, one hears everyone out, and after that you sort of discuss with everyone and see what's the best approach. So I think being a woman, actually that's quite important as well, to be collaborative, to carry your team with you, because I might say that I've never really had that problem, gender bias or something, but especially women, I find when they have a female boss, they find it harder to accept you than a man. So I think your style needs to be, sort of to get them on board and then, sort of take a decision.
So collaboration
is the mantra. For me, it is. But I'm sure different things work for different people.
Yeah.
But I think a collaborative approach works for me quite well. At the end of the day, I could still push my point of view through, but I must hear everyone out and must decide what's the best approach.
Yeah,
so I think
that's nice.
Yeah.
So tell me, you mentioned this women part of the journey of a leader. So what kind of challenges did you face just because you were a woman?
I've never really, despite the fact that I've worked in an Indian company and people from the outside would think it's got a sort of Indian sort of a corporate culture, it's a little conservative, but it was never like that. There was never the feeling that I was, a different gender. I was one of the boys. Our KPIs were the same. Our deliverables were the same. The degree of hardship were the same. And the degree of empowerment was also the same. So, to tell you honestly, I didn't ever really feel in any way that the gender bias was creeping in. And the other thing I would say is there is an invisible glass ceiling for women. You have to break it. It is there.
And it's a very important point you said, and I think for all women out there will never be a difference in KPIs.
Yeah.
There will never be a difference in targets.
Absolutely.
The work will never be different.
Never. In fact, more is expected out of you.
More is
expected out of you. And I would say that. Yeah. And I think to some extent women live up to that because, we always bring in a new perspective, and I feel we're a lot more hardworking. I think we're a lot more sincere. I think we're a lot more honest. And I'm not being biased. I don't know if you agree with me, Chitra. You've been in a similar situation. So, I'm sure you can vouch for that.
I know. And that's the thing that... But now today's women need to challenge any stereotypes. If they say that can't be anything more, that's, I think, right now we need to challenge that,
You're absolutely right. I think we were a generation before, so we were sort of used to the fact that, okay, we'll never make it to that level. So, we were resigned to the fact. But definitely, I don't think it's right to do what I did, on hindsight.
No. It's everyone has a different path. But today, I think we need to encourage the mental for so many women.
So that's
and
really a
yeah,
lovely space to
yeah,
be. And
yeah.
today, I mean, it's not that I have a defined role. I could be doing just about anything and everything that comes my way. So it's not that, today my KPIs are this, so I have to perform those. I don't even look at them any longer. So it could be anything and everything, and which is great. It just keeps the excitement going, because today you're working on something and tomorrow it could be another assignment.
And you're influencing so many women,
exactly,
men, youngsters.
and women really look up to you. They want to. They have. They don't know how good or bad you are in your work, but they always look up to you and say, God, 36 years, we want to be like you, and we want to be, we want to learn like you, we want to, so it's a very nice feeling. Can we spend some time with you? Can you teach us how this is to be done? I mean, that's really love. To be able to teach people and to be able to, make them learn what you have learned, I think that's really a very fulfilling part of this role that I have today.
So how important is it for women to have networks, and help from other places, because they may be having other personal challenges, family challenges. So how much, even at office, you were saying how it's important to know your systems and processes. So how important is it to have a good network?
I think it's very important. I think it's important for your own learning and development. I mean, when I go out, when I network, I go to, say, marketing or advertising seminars, there's so much more out there to learn, because I have not moved from one organization to another. So whatever my learning has been here. So when I go out and I meet people from other companies, I feel that there's so much that I could learn from them, and also being part of that fraternity. I mean, today, if I have a challenge or if I need some advice on something, I know if I have a great network, I can pick up the phone and talk to them. So I think it's very important. And the other place where I feel a network sort of helps me is the fact that we are not like a Samsung or an LG or something like that. So to pull that weight in the industry, to go to an agency with a smaller budget and say, hey, I need preference over this one, you need to have that network, you need to have that personal connect. And I think that goes a long way in helping you perform better. One, of course, is, like I said, your own personal development. The other is even in your performance. I think it helps a lot.
So both learning and performance.
As performance.
Yeah?
I think it has had an impact, and I think it's important.
Yeah. So, in this whole navigation, and I'm sure, there's no role that is breezy, right? Everything needs
everything is a lot of hard work.
Yes. So was there any situation where it affected your mental health?
Yeah, I would say to some extent, initially when you want to do well, you're a woman, you've got to actually work a lot harder at some stages in your life. So I would find myself really working very long hours. I would have teams from the agency, sitting with me till about 11 at night, then I have to go and drop them back and stuff like that. So I realized that there were times when I didn't have enough time for my own self, and I don't know whether it was affecting me mentally, but definitely I felt that I needed to, find another outlet, needed to do something besides just my work. So that's where you need to find the balance, and that's where you need to draw the line and say, okay, this much and no more. I mean, it's great to achieve, and it's great to, be sort of appreciated by your bosses, but then at some point in time, I think you need to say, okay, this much and no more. So I don't know whether there were any mental health issues, but definitely I found that I was having less and less time for my own self, because there was so much travel involved initially, going into the market to understand the consumer, going into smaller towns and things. So weekends were sort of also spent, doing all this. So after a few years, I decided that, look, somewhere I've got to find time for myself, because this is endless. It's like a bottomless well. No matter how much time you put in, it's not going to be enough. So I wouldn't call it a mental health issue, but I would definitely call it a point where I thought I needed to spend some more time with myself, with my family, with my nieces, with my brothers. I thought they were growing up. I was being left behind. So I think that is one area where I had to make a conscious effort to sort of do a little less.
So what you're saying is really drawing your own boundaries, and also finding spaces to re-energize yourself.
Absolutely.
And find other parts of yourself to be that whole person.
Organizations are not going to do that for you. You have to find that balance yourself, because for them it's great if you over-deliver or whatever. I don't know whether I was over-delivering, but I'm just saying that, to deliver 20, like I said, it's No matter how much you work, it's never enough.
Yeah, there's
So
something
there's
else.
something pending, something or the other which needs to be done, something you need to finish. So somewhere you've got to understand that, look, it's enough.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so now we're going to another part of our discussion. It's
Right.
called the rapid fire
Oh
round.
gosh, I'm scared of these, but I'll try.
So if you have one superpower, what would that be?
Okay, sorry to be sounding cliched, but today I would say if I had one superpower, I would really like to reverse climate change. It's a problem which is there. It's not 100 years away like you read about things. It's there, it's here, it's now, and it's happening. And there isn't much of a solution that the world is able to find to it. Even the COP28, I mean, discussions happened over days, but no concrete solution. And it's scary. Look what's happening to our world. So I would say that if I had one superpower, I would want to do something about climate change. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it frightens me. Not for myself, but the generation that's, it's really, where are they, going to be living and what are they going to be doing? Floods and, extreme weathers and, I don't know, it's scary.
They're going to hold us accountable for sure.
Really, for sure. And especially the developed world, I want to hold them accountable, but they're not really coming up with, nobody's coming up with solutions because everyone has a vested interest. So really, this is a real problem for the world.
Okay,
and
now we are back to rapid fire. I also forgot.
sorry. We went on to another discussion. Yes.
Never mind.
Okay, rapid fire means one or two words. Okay, sorry. I'll keep that in mind for the next one.
So what is that one skill or talent that you would like to have?
Actually, I'd like to be great at public speaking.
More?
No, really, honestly. I mean, you've made me comfortable. So otherwise, I was like, I don't have that confidence to really get up anywhere and pick up the mic and speak. And that's something I would really like to master. Yeah.
Okay. But what is that one talent or hidden skill that you have?
Suchitra, can I leave it hidden? Please. Please, let's leave it hidden.
Okay. But what is that one hobby then that you have that you want to spend a little more time on perhaps?
Well, somewhere deep down that desire to be a fashion designer hasn't died. So I have a very dear friend who's a fashion designer. So in my free time, I actually go and work in a studio.
That's nice, yeah.
And I do some styling for a few friends also. I put their whole look together. So I do that.
Nice.
Yeah, it just gives me a lot of pleasure.
Oh,
so
great.
I'm hoping that at some point in time, still I'm hoping I'd be able to make a career out of
Why
it.
not?
Yeah, so there's never too late for anything. Yeah.
And if you were to write a book about yourself, autobiography, what would it be called?
The Munjal that you didn't know about.
That's nice.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Good. Yeah. And what is, how would you describe your leadership style?
Like I mentioned before, I think collaborative. That's one word for it. Pretty much. And I think as a woman, it works best.
Yeah. And what's your leadership mantra?
Leadership mantra. Can I skip that question?
Okay, I'll ask you a tougher one then.
No.
No, what's your life mantra?
Okay. I think live the moment. Take life as it comes. Don't plan, don't overthink, don't think about the past, don't think what's going to happen in the future. Just live life, the way it comes and live life in the moment. And I think that's really something that works for me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful way to end our conversation
Thank
today.
you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation with you and really and wonderful to know you too.
Yeah. Thanks
Thank
a
you.
lot for
Thank
being
you very
in
much.
the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To our viewers, stay tuned for more such engaging discussions in the She Slays Leadership Talk series. Until then, keep watching this space on Health Shots.